Okay, which I assume I'm already live. Awesome. So someone finally respond. Very good. Okay, so hi, welcome to oGT Consultancy Space. So basically, just for your information, LCEB is still happening on the another channel, but meanwhile, because it's already 9 p.m., so we will start for oGT. Okay, so something for this consultancy space, a few things to let you know first. First thing first, because we are doing live streaming, so that's why the there is a little bit of like a delay from our side. The thing that I'm seeing and also the thing that I'm receiving will be at least 10 or 20 seconds of delay. Okay, so means that you'll be receiving the things that I've been saying 10 or 20 seconds ago. Okay, so yeah, that's something for you to take note. And the second thing, it's because of this situation. So if you have any questions, just write it down directly in the comment box so that I will directly answer to your questions right after the entire consultancy space. Okay, so I can just read through the question because of the difference in the thing that I'm saying and also the question that you ask. I can see live questions being asked, but the thing that I'm saying is delay. Okay, so just take note on these things. If you have any questions already, just directly comment it over there. I will be scrolling back at the end of the consultancy space to actually answer your question. Okay, so of course, first thing first, welcome to the space. And my name is Benjamin. I'm the current MCVP OD. So I'm not the main person in charge for oGT, but because of my background, I believe, for working very long for Outgoing Exchange, for OGX, OGV, and also oGT. So that's why I'm also in charge to deliver this space with all of you. All right. So first thing first, of course, we look into a little bit of understanding of the product differentiation. So specifically, we're talking about Outgoing Global Talent. So that's why our product here is Global Talent, right? So basically, our main partners that we work with is MNCs. SMEs are basically startup, but it's more towards MNC and also SME. So it's like the duration falls in 6 weeks to 78 weeks. Okay. And the thing is, for Global Talent, what is different from Global Volunteer and Global Entrepreneur? It is a paid exchange product. And also its primary purpose here is to develop professional experience in a specific working environment. Okay. So which means that everyone who is involved in Global Talent, basically they are undergoing a very professional exchange. It's also cross-culture at the same time, very like really company basis and also professional basis of working environment, which is relatively different from Global Volunteer and also Global Entrepreneur, where Global Volunteer focuses a lot on voluntary basis and they work with NGO, while Global Entrepreneur works usually with startups. Similarly, professional experience, just a very different environment in the sense of like they work in a startup environment, and also compared to the like a company's kind of profile and also a startup kind of profile is basically different. Okay, and also in duration wise, you can actually see that Global Talent is way longer in compared to the rest of them, the range of the duration itself. Okay, so something to take note is before you can actually apply or like really manage any products as OGV, oGT, IGE, and so on, the first thing that you have to know is the product itself, okay? Because we are the person who is directly managing the product, where sometimes we call ourselves product heads. If you're LCVP OGT, if you're LCVP IGV, for example, you are the product head. You are the head that manages the entire development and growth of the product. Basically, people see you, people see the product, okay? So this is the first thing that you have to know, which is the entire product itself. Okay, so for this entire session, the content will include 5 things. Number 1, MOS and KPI of the function. Number 2, job description and key focus of the function. Number 3, key synergy of the function. Number 4, timeline, focusing on summer peak. And 5th, suggested main competence and also behavior that is required in managing the function itself. Okay, so the thing is, the session wouldn't be taking very long. It will be taking roughly, I think, 20 to 30 minutes maximum. And the rest of the time is basically focusing on you, means it's mainly Q&A. All right, so let me just do a very quick checking if I'm still in the live, because I'm really afraid if I'm disconnected sometimes. Cool. So yes, I am still here, which is awesome. Okay, so there are 5 of you. It's good. Okay, nice. So Dana is here, Whitney is here, which I believe one of you represents Sunway, one of you represent KP. That is good. Yes, Chichin, we started already. It's fine. we just started a little bit. Okay, so yes, let's start from the first thing, which is talking about MOI, MOS, and also KPI of the function. Okay, so what is MOS? Is the measure of success, which means that what is a thing that defines that we are doing things successfully for this function. Okay, and KPI is the key performance indicators or key performance index. Okay, which means that what are the measurement that we look into that would say that we are actually performing at the right direction, okay, based on the indicators. Okay, so basically, it is there are three main parts I would say. So the first part is on the customer flow. So basically, it covers from top to bottom the thing that we always see, the thing we always do. Okay, so back to the core of Isaac again. The main thing that we do is exchange, right? We develop youth leadership. We achieve PNF through leadership development, and the way we do leadership development is exchange. Okay, so we do cross-cultural experience. We also do practical experience in a challenging environment. So which equals to exchange. Okay, so when it comes to the entire customer flow, signups, applicants, accepted, approved, realized, finish, and complete. So this is the most basic thing that operation will always see, right? And if you realize, realize and complete are actually bolded. Okay, so which means that they are basically the main MOS for us to look into. Okay, so if you know that the Isaac as a whole, the final MOS that we should look into is number of completed, because it is considered a complete experience, which covers the volume side, which is the number of EPs, and also it covers the experience, which means 16 standards, which means that a complete number equals to a number of exchange plus proper experience delivery. Okay. Meanwhile, realize is also another thing that we always look into, in a sense of like that is how can I put it? It's like a I wouldn't say it's a second MOS, but it's a very important KPI for us to look into, because when realize happens, that means that we are delivering the experience. It means that they go realize, right? Okay, so usually, actually every single of these elements, I would say, in the entire customer flow is extremely important, because it connects to one another. You cannot have signups. You wouldn't have accepted if you don't have signups. You wouldn't have finished if you don't have realized, right? So everything is connected from top to bottom. Just that the final one that we measure the best is the MOS. Okay. So also these are not just the thing that we look into, right? How do we know that if signups to applicants to accepted to approved to realize are doing good? So there are two main conversions-based KPI, which is the conversion rates and also process time. Okay. So conversion rate means that from one stage to another stage, what is the percentage? Okay, so for example, I have 100 signups today, and then I have 20 applicants. So that means that my conversion rate is 20%, which means 100% who sign up on the platform, 20 of them actually applies for a project. Okay, so which means that you can do an analysis that is that a good thing or a bad thing, right? So process time, basically, usually we measure process time starting from applicants to accepted to approve, because that is the process that we can really control the most. All right, so it's like how much time does it take from applicants to move to accepted, and to accepted to move to approve. Okay, and as simple as that. For conversion rate, the higher is always the better. For process time, the shorter is also the better. Okay, but of course, Janji, it is a good process. Okay, as of like you don't simply do the process, you fulfill what is required to convert from one stage to another, right? And also specifically to pinpoint, which is EP's experience. Okay, so there are two main KPI that we look into: standards fulfillment and NPS score. And if you know the connection, standards fulfillment links to number of completes, right? Only when you have a certain number of standards fulfilled, you can convert your EP from finish to complete, right? So when it comes to standard fulfillment here, why do we have to look it as one of the KPI? Because that's where we know how quality are we delivering an EP experience, right? Out of the 16 standards, which is the one that is fulfilled, which is the one that is not fulfilled, which is the one that we always do very good, which is the one that we always do very bad. Okay, so that's a situation that we know how we can improve standards, right? And NPS, sometimes people will say that, hey, outgoing, you don't measure NPS. Yeah, actually, you should, right? Because that is where we know whether every single EPs that we are sending out, are they having a good experience? Okay, NPS score, in a way, is not just to be given to projects. It's not just to be given to opportunities. It's also an entire score that they give, right? Starting from the first touch point until the end of the touch point. So when they are rating an entire experience over there. So as outgoing side, regardless if you're OGV, OGT, or OGE, it's extremely important that we know the NPS score of every single EPs. Okay, so if you remember the scale of of NPS, it starts from 0 to 10, right? So which means that 10 is the promoter score, which we call them people who willingly promote our products, right? And you should, as I understand, 0 to 6 are people who are detractors, which means that they are basically just, I think 0 to 5 are people who are like, detractors means that they, it's not just, means that they're actually not confident with our product. They actually don't like our product. Okay. Meanwhile, around 6 to 7 are mainly passive, which means people are like, meh, neutral. Okay. Okay. It's like, okay, lor. Not say very good, not say very bad. They are very passive. Okay. So which means for you to understand how NPS concept actually works. Okay. So if you look into this entire thing, that sums up the entire MOS and KPI that as an operation, specifically for oGT, you have to look into. Right. So with all these KPI and MOS, if these are the things that we are measuring, then what are the things that we do? Basically, that comes in to the key focuses and job description of an oGT. Okay, so 3 main aspects, 3 main biggest focus area. Okay, so number 1, product and operational management. Secondly, customer experience management. Last one, supply and demand management. Okay, so these 3 things basically are the 3 things that I pick as most important thing that not just outgoing as a whole, but specifically for oGT to really take note on. Okay, so again, as I said, as GT, GV, or GE, or whatever it is, you are the product head. Okay, so you are the person who oversees the entire product development. Regardless which LC you are from, you are in charge of that product, So when people are approaching you, if people today is approaching Isaac and KP to ask about oGT, they look at you, you are oGT. Okay, you are the one that manages product. If at any point it becomes a good product, it's because of you. If it becomes a bad product, it's also because of you, because we are the people who runs the product. Okay, so in a way, globally as well, the things that we always say is that it's not the product itself that is bad, but it's always about the people who manage it, who did not manage properly, which affects the quality delivery of it. Okay, so that's why to look into what are the things that needs to really take note for product and operational management, there are 3 main things. Number 1, managing product growth and development in the market of your entity. Okay, so doing operation is not just doing SOP. It's not just doing, okay, let's do SOP. Let's focus on, I don't know, like do this small thing, do that small thing. Okay, it's very important for you to understand how I want this product to grow in my market. Okay, so if today Isaac in Sunway, the goal is to make sure that 30 realization can happen, I need to start thinking, okay, so how can I make this 30 realization happen in my market? And also not just this term and next term, how do I want to see this product to grow even further? As an operation, as a product manager, you have to know that thing, right? Secondly, track, analyze, and improve the effectiveness and efficiency of strategies based on exchange process. Okay, not based on, sorry for the typo. Okay, so another thing that we always have as operations is data. There's a lot of data that we look into. And looking back into the MOS and KPI, these are already the data that we should consistently analyze, right? To know that if we are doing the proper thing, if you are doing it right, if you are doing it good. Okay, so as operations, being data-driven, being able to analyze, being able to track, and also figure out the ways to improve it is extremely important, because that's where we know that. And to be honest, we have only 1 year, right? So for 1 year to achieve our goal, for 1 year to try things, to implement things, and then to improve it is a very short period of time. So we have to be extremely agile, extremely fast to make sure that every single strategy that we are doing is effective and is efficient. And if it's not working, we have to know it and change it, right? And last one is to drive local initiatives and strategies to grow the product. Okay, so if you always hear about SOP, you always hear about IR, all these are initiatives, okay? Because these are different ways for you to grow this product. Okay, if today, again, I want to achieve 30 realize, where do I need to start, right? I look back to customer flow. Okay, attraction, what kind of attraction strategies I have to do? Do I need to do physical booth? Do I need to do screening on, screening on Expa? What kind of things I have to focus on, right? When it comes to consideration, let's say, okay, what kind of things that I need to do to make sure that I can convert my people? Okay, do I need to do IR? Do I need to make sure that my whole team know about the SOP? What, right? If value delivery, what initiative? Okay, so basically, a lot of strategies implementation comes in for operations people, including OGT. Okay, so when it comes to customer experience management, basically it's every single interaction that we have with our customer, because we do not manage process, also we manage people, right? Everything that we are managing is people. So one thing very important is communication. Okay, so how can we make sure that since attraction, since the first touch point of communication with EPs or youth is already properly aligned, or is already properly being done, right? So every single touch point that we have with customer is a customer experience, right? They will feel whether you are good, they will feel that whether you are bad, they will know that, okay, is this something that's reliable? Is this something that I want to move on with? Every single word, every single sentence that you are using would make sense, right? And of course, to be more detailed and to be more specific into customer experience, something that you look into is standards delivery and also facilitation of youth experience. That's like the main sinful job of Outgoing, right? Making sure that standards are properly fulfilled, making sure that we always keep very consistent communication with our EP, especially when they go for exchange already, right? And also, last but not least, proper collection of feedback in the form of surveys and also testimonials. So from there, we know that how is their overall experience, how are they actually feeling, and also they can be our advocates in order to further grow our product itself. Okay, so top to bottom, from being a stranger until being an advocate at the end, it is an entire customer experience that we need to manage, right? And last one is supply and demand management, which is extremely important even for GT. Okay, because one thing that you've looked into is in GT wise, timeline for operation timeline is one of the most important thing. And GT has a it's not that GT doesn't have a timeline. If you think that GT don't have a timeline, you are totally wrong. Okay, but for GT, every single market, every single entity has a specific timeline that they have to define. Okay, so as an OGT, it's very important for you to understand the global timeline, how supply and demand works, which means how opportunities and your student market works, and also how it is actually as a trend in regional level or even in global level. Okay, and then second thing, managing on opportunities, aligning with the customers or youth profiles that you have, basically is managing your own supply, which is the EPs that we have, the students that we have in the university, students in Sunway, students in KP, students in XXX. Okay, and last one, with that in mind, forming potential IRs, which means you do international relations, is where you allows you to be very focused in order to improve your customer experience, improve your code delivery, and also improving your attraction. Okay, so this is how important when people say doing IR, that's how important that it comes for global talent specifically, because you have to know what kind of profile your student is, what kind of opportunity can link with this profile, and how you can put these two person together. Okay? So, since I was already talking about timeline, that's why I bring timeline here instead of synergy first. Okay, so the thing is that I couldn't show you like a one pager of how timeline of global talent is, because again, as I told you, every entity has their own timeline. So a very simple call to action also, I think something that you should prepare, even when you are already running for LCBP, is to prepare a timeline for GT of your own entity. Okay, so you need to learn building, like the guidance I can give you is according to these 3 points: your supply's timeline, your demand's timeline, and also the global and regional trend. Okay, so which means very simple, right? You just lay out from let's say you started in February until January, say February 2018, January 2019. Okay, so this entire period, the first thing you identify first is, okay, when do students in Sunway, when do students in KP usually go for global talent? Okay, when is the time that they can actually go? So that is the period of time that you mark as the main realization period in your timeline, right? Then very simply, you do your very simple conversion from value. Let's say realize is value delivery. Let's say, right, because that's where they go for realize. And then before that, when is the approval peak? Okay, so if this person is going, let's say my peak is in December and January, so when should they be approved? Maybe it's 2 months before, because global talent, you have to do a lot of visa related matters, let's say. Okay, so it means that October and let's say September is my peak of approval. And then if I need to approve in September, when should I start my attraction? When should I do consideration? Okay, so this is how that you can just build a very simple timeline that actually covers your operational focus. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So this is one very, just a very rough example that I got it from the regional office, which means the Asia Pacific. Okay, so something that how we define how the timeline looks like is to by understanding our own reality. Okay, so it's very easy for you to go back and just use XBAR, go and screen. Okay, like every month, which month is the month that I have the most approved, which month is the month that I have the most realized, which month is the month that I have the most signups, applicants, and so on. That can form a timeline for you as well, because that tells you the peak for everything, basically. Okay, so this timeline is actually very simple. They separate based on sub-products of global talent, and then they tell you like when is the peak. Like you can see when is the peaks of realization actually happens. Okay, so this is something that's very important for you to draw yourself as an LCVP or even as a candidate. Right. So when it comes to key synergy for oGT, something that is very important for you to take note, there are three main stakeholders that you really need to work with as oGT. Okay, so other than working within yourself, which is your team, within your team itself, the synergy also must be very good. Okay, even though you don't, the synergies is in like intra function, which means within your function itself, one person's role with another person's role must be very clear. Okay, so if you look into the entire role, it covers like what? Exchange management, it covers like customer experience, it covers like physical or whatever marketing initiative, this kind of stuff. So how one person needs to work with another within the function itself. And when it comes to functional-based synergy, three things: PM, FL, and LCP. Okay, so collaboration with PM here is to make sure that oGT's membership experience is actually good, which means that team leaders, people who is leading the function, VP, directors, are doing their job properly in providing proper membership experience in oGT. Okay, so the element that you look into includes team-centered implementation, L&D, which is learning and development, which is all the educational things, coaching, mentoring, and also practical spaces, these kind of things. Okay, member efficiency, which basically means how efficient is your it's your network. Like the simple calculation is just exchange over members. Okay, like for example, I have 5 members, I do 20 exchange. Okay, so my efficiency is actually 4, which means that one member I can deliver 4 exchange. Okay, so membership productivity basically means PA scores and also PA implementation. Basically, it also means how many members in your function actually achieve at least 70% of their goal. Okay, you do PA, right? PA is like the entire goal that you have for the month. Okay, so the end of the score, how many of them actually get higher than 70%? Okay, and last one is membership engagement. Basically, it comes from like membership engagement survey, this kind of stuff that tells you how is the overall experience. Okay, and then with FL, basically it's work together to ensure oGT's financial growth and sustainability is being taken care. Okay, which includes this element: budget versus actual. You must have a budget, and you must actually track whether are you on track with the budget or not. Right? Budget is not just money that it's not just the money that you're going to spend, but it's also the income that you're going to bring in. Right? And then after that, investment plan. Okay, so how much money that I'm going to invest specifically for oGT itself, right? Work together with FL for that as well. Legalities management, any documentation, visa related matters that needs to be taken care of. And last one, product sustainability and also profit strategies. If there's anything that we have to work together to make sure that oGT can sustain and also can make sure that it allows the LC to sustain with the existence of oGT. Okay, something that Isaac, for us, we always emphasize a lot is sustainability, which means that which means that we are doing leadership development in a way that we are actually sustainable. Okay, which means that we can continuously doing this in a wider and wider scale, right? And last one, working together with LCP. Okay, so which focusing on operational growth and development. Okay, so how is the overall product development for oGT is going to be like, right? How is the goal versus actual? How is the strategist implementation? How is the reality of the product right now, right? How is the supply? How is the demand? What is the strength? What is the weakness? What is the potential market? What is the threat? Everything. Okay, so that's how you work with 3 different stakeholders here. Okay, so if you look into it, working with these people are not an extra work. They are here to make sure that your products are ongoing well. Okay, PM, make sure that your people are ongoing well. FL, make sure that your finance are ongoing well. LCP, make sure that your entire products are ongoing well, aligning with them. Okay, so synergy is extremely important because it actually supports your development, right? If not, it doesn't make sense, right? And of course, the last point here about key competence. Okay, so I just separate into 2 important parts, which is on the persona of people who manages OGT, and also the functional skills that is highly important. Okay, so persona wise, I think something that you really need to take note here is the ability to champion the customer, which means that people who you really understand what customer thinks. Okay, another word we call it customer as obsessed or whatever. Okay, which means that you know how to communicate with customer, you know how to talk to people, you know how to build relationship, you know how to give people confidence. This kind of stuff is extremely important when you're working as an outgoing, right? It's not specifically just doing sales, it's not like sales here. It's more like how you establish relationship, you establish proper communication. You know what is the right word to use, you know what is the right message to tell, this kind of stuff. Okay, and then when it comes to business acumen, it's basically how much GT is extremely important in this point because you are working with companies as well. Even though you don't manage companies, I mean, you don't work directly with companies as like IGT, but the thing is you need to know the reality. How is the trend? Okay, what companies are looking for? What kind of talent do they want? Right? Because you are the one that kind of send out the talents to other people right now. So if you don't know about it, how are you going to manage? How I know that? Let's say Tata Consultancy in India, what kind of people that they want. Okay, if this opportunity tell me that it is about marketing expert and it gives me this amount of job descriptions, how can I find the right profile in my university to link this opportunity to my student's profile, right? How can I make sure that the CV is actually good enough for this person to get this job? Okay, is there a probability that I can actually do already when this person applied to this job? Something like this is something that we have to learn. Okay, and of course, being process oriented. Okay, managing operations is like managing a process. Okay, top to bottom customer flow. Okay, and something that I think is very important for OGT is independence. Okay, the thing is, from national level, one good news to let you know is that we are onboarding, we are recruiting and also trying to onboard one MC director who specifically will work on OGT. Okay, the thing is, we are opening application for this. So the thing is, we do not know who is this person going to be and if there's anyone who's going to apply for this role. Just that, yes, we are opening MC director to make sure that we have one person in the MC level to be directly accountable to OGT products. Okay, just that, of course, finger crossed for myself as well that someone's going to do this. Okay, so hopefully that someone's going to be there. At the same time, I think really independence is something that's very important for OGT for Isaac in Malaysia. You need to know, because to be very, very frank, like, okay, most of the focus products are OGV and IGV right now for Isaac in Malaysia. Okay, so non-focus product doesn't mean that you are not important. You are still new. You are at the pioneer stage. Okay, so like maybe in LC level as well, most of the focus are not given to you. Okay, so you need to know what kind of thing that you have to do. It doesn't mean that no one cares about you. Okay, at the same time, you just need to understand that you are being placed in this position because you are here to grow this product. Okay, if Isaac in Malaysia 5 years later is going to grow a lot in OGT, you are the one that need to start on it. Okay, because if there's no pioneers, no one's going to continue the job. Right? Okay, so functional skills, 4 things: brand and product management, which basically, again, as I told you, you're a product head, you need to know the brand, you need to know the product. Only you can manage it. Okay, customer experience, similarly as how you champion your customer. Supply and demand, understanding the entire trend, the timeline, which opportunity realize when is your student's profile, and also quality standards and process. Okay, so every process that we are delivering, every single standards that we are delivering, it has to be good and it has to be quality, right? So basically that kind of sums up the entire consultancy space with, I think, I'm not sure if it's a lot of information, but it covers the biggest picture of what OGT is all about as a function. Okay, so just a very quick recap with all of you. Basically, we covers 5 things: MOS and KPI. Remember, as operations, complete is our main KPI. At the same time, the rest of the complete is our main MOS. At the same time, the rest of the KPIs are really important because that is the thing that allows complete to happen. Without any single one of the rest, you will not achieve complete. Okay? So we talk about job description and key focus of the function, where we talk about product and operational management, customer experience management, and also supply and demand management. And what are the roles? You can actually see it yourself. And then we talk about key scenario. We talk about timeline, where remember that you have to understand every single entity for global talent has your own timeline. It's not that you don't have a timeline, but you have to build a timeline. Okay? KB's timeline, Sunway's timeline, yours can be different. It depends on your market. It depends on your opportunities and also on your demands. Okay? And then we talk about key synergies. So there are three main synergies that you have to look into: PM, FL, and LCP. These people are here to make sure that you can grow as a product holistically. Okay. And last thing, we talk about key competence, which is the main skills and main persona that you need to look into if you're applying to be a VP OGT. Right. Okay. So now it's question time. I'll just go to the tab to look at your question. Wow. Okay. So if you have any question, it's there right now. I'll just be answering your question. Okay. So for Q&A, I will just open Q&A for 5 minutes. Yeah. So basically 5 minutes later, I'll answer all the questions. And if there's no questions, I'll basically close out the space. All right. Okay, so one question from Chi Chin. OGT standard, will it change? Okay, so based on my understanding so far, standards, I don't receive any information that there is any changes in standards. Okay, so which means that for 16 standards, it is still the same thing, right? Four parts of it, focusing on development, focusing on jobs, focusing on logistic, and also another one, which I forgot, I think is leaving. Okay, so far, exchange standards across all products are the same. The different thing is just the delivery period. Okay, so for OGT, probably it's longer, right? Because it's a very long period of time. It's like it can range from 6 weeks to what's the thing? 78. No, that's too long. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Anyways, it can range for a period of time. 12 months. Yeah, 78 weeks, correct. Chichingpua national complete percentage. Wow, this is a good question. Okay, so for this, it's very easy that you can just analyze your own data lah. Okay, so I can just give you some data understanding lah. Okay, I'm not sure if Expa is working today. Ooh, let me check. Okay, I'll just use core. It's easier. Okay, so if you want to understand a little bit more about the current reality, from realized to compensation, I mean national goal. Okay. So I thought you want to know the reality. Okay, so I'll just focus on answering the national goal. All right. Okay, so the thing is, nationally, we don't really have a specific define of conversion rate from realized to complete because I think the thing to look into right now, the skill that we are doing is not that high, and also yeah, it has not been a very huge focus that we actually look into. All right, but globally for global talent, the conversion rate from realized to finish, I mean finish to complete, if I'm not mistaken, it falls in around 40 or 45%, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that is the average complete conversion rate from finish to complete. Yeah, I think it's somewhere around there. Global volunteer is around 60%. Global entrepreneur is around 50 to 55%. So if not mistaken, global talent is around 45%. Okay. Since out of curiosity, I will just see um, What is our conversion? I'm also quite curious to see. Okay, so let's see LC term. Let's see for term 2018. Okay, so let's see the number of real lives that we have for oGT. It's basically, yeah, this is the wrong platform. Okay, countries. Okay, Asia Pacific. Okay, so if you look into the realized number of oGT in Malaysia is 15 from the 1st of August until today, assuming this is our winter peak so far. And also, and then the complete number so far is only 1. Okay, so the thing is because for oGT itself, there's really a huge amount of cross-term figure. That's why sometimes term by term, you do not be able to see, like probably it realized in your summer peak, then only next year they only finish and complete. So which means that sometimes numbers don't contribute in your term itself. Okay, so I think a simple call to action is just for yourself to retrieve your data back from term. I think you can start from term 2016 until today. If your LC has been running oGT for very long, then from there you can just like, when you take in all the data, then you can actually know what is a trend of finish to complete and also realize to complete in your entity. Okay, any tracker resource that we able to get the IGT timeline of global region? Yes, you have. Okay, so I will just send you an output. People who attended this space, the entire global education. Because actually, if you go to AI Team's Facebook page, you can actually see that every product they have a very holistic output about the product itself. Okay, so I'll just send you so you can have it. Oh wait, I want to just send you here. That's easy. Wait there. So this link has the entire these websites. I mean, this link here that I pasted here has the entire education that is actually provided by AI to every layers of the organization to understand. Okay, so some of the information can be a little bit more detailed or can be a little bit more deep. So for you to understand, it's just to filter and understand the content. Okay, so if you can see, they have content here, booklet, they have video, they have also quiz. So you can actually understand the picture holistically, right? Okay, so can LC level post our GT opportunities into the job seeking website? Okay, so for this so far, I don't have any I wouldn't say it's a right or wrong thing to do. Like it probably can be one of the strategies, but something that we have to look into is if there's any violation when we are promoting opportunities or if we are promoting these kind of things in another, like in a job seeking website. Okay, so for this, I think the thing is to look into more of like if you are violating. If it's not, generally I don't think that's a problem, but I'm not sure if there's any rule specific in the XPP or if there's any rule specified in a specific website that if you can do so. Okay, any other question from anyone else? Okay, thanks Chi-Ching for your questions. Let's hope that there will be an MC director for summer peak. Then there will be people applying for the role. Then there will be someone who specifically manages on the product. Okay, that will be very good for LCs who run GT after this. Okay, may I know globally is the demand is higher than supply for GT? Okay, so I would say okay, so it depends which are you defining demand and supply. Okay, I assume demand here is people who want the opportunity, supply is opportunities. Okay, so actually yes, because if you look into conversion rate, okay, if you look into conversion rate, number of applicants is always extremely high for global talent, which means people applying for GT is a lot of people. Okay, but then when it comes to converting from applicants to accepted, the conversion rate is extremely low. It's like sometimes some entity even go like 1%, 2%, which means maybe out of 1,000 people, only 10 people are converted, right? And the number of opportunities by every entity, you can even look Malaysia as an example. Okay, so we have around 40 to 50 IGT opportunities. All right, and people who actually applies to the project can go up to 1,000. So I would say that the demand in these terms for people wise is actually a lot, right? It's just that how are we improving the way that we are running GT in a sense of like we have really suitable opportunities to be open that is allowing our people to be approved to it. At the same time, our role as oGT here to make sure that we can find really suitable opportunities for a suitable candidate or for a suitable youth that want to go internship there. Okay, because again, the elements or the nature of the product is very different, right? They are looking for professional experience and they are really specifying some very detailed job scope and very professional things that we're looking for. Okay, so compared to GV, it's like not everyone can go for it. If you are not qualified, you are not qualified, right? So that's something to look into. Lor. Right. Interesting. So just one more minute. Cool. So no more question from Ching side. Okay, good. So I think also there's no more questions from others. So I assume there's no more question. Okay. So yes. So lastly, I think that's it all. Basically, thank you very much for attending the space. I hope it helps you. And if you have any questions in preparing for your application or whatsoever, you can actually approach me or approach Xiaomei or approach even the EST, Peggy. They can actually support you as well based on their experience and based on the things that we have done before. Okay? So, yep, that's it. Thank you very much, Pete. See you. Bye.